Right now what I'm doing is I'm getting ready to send some little care packages off to some woodworking buddies that I met in Boston during the New England Home Show in February. And what a treat it was to meet some guys that I had made contact with over the internet and then to meet them in person. Well, I'm going to send them a care package. You can see in the background I've got all these boxes stacked up. And each box is going to have one of my cans of, kind of a joke, but I call it Dr. Pruett's Handmade Screw Lube, made by woodworkers for woodworkers. And it's basically a beeswax based screw lubricant that I use in my shop, and I occasionally give it away as a thank you gift to woodworkers. And I've got a batch made up right now that I'm getting ready to send away. I thought I would show you how I make it, and then perhaps a project you can do in your shop. Basically, I get these cans from Survival Resources, and I'll put the link up on the show notes. The screw lubricant is a mixture of either white or yellow beeswax and mineral oil. And then what I do is I throw in either 1 or 2 vials of Bayberry candle scent. I don't know, this just reminds me of a smell that goes back to childhood when I lived in New England. And when you open up one of these cans to use it in your shop, you immediately get a smell of Bayberry candles, and it brings back kind of a period memory for me, and I kind of like it, so I throw that in. But I make my own labels, and I'll show you how I do that. I basically use Avery full sheet label material, and I made up my own label on my computer, and I set it so that it's 6 up, and I've sized it so it fits the can that I use. And the reason I'm showing you this is because this technique works great for making all sorts of labels. I then, after it's printed, I spray several coats of, in this case I'm using Rust-Oleum matte clear lacquer, but you can also use acrylic spray, anything that's fast drying. I tend to stay with either fast dry lacquer or fast dry acrylic. I put perhaps 4 to 6 coats on until it gets kind of a thick plastic feel to it. Of course, let it dry really well. And then I use, in this case, this, what is this? This is a ½ pint can of wood stain, but it is almost the exact perfect size to use as a cutout template. I then put the label on a piece of scrap hardboard. I center the can right on top of the label, make sure that it's centered, and then I just use an X-Acto knife and push down real hard, and then you just run this X-Acto knife right around that can, and with a nice sharp blade you're pretty much guaranteed getting a nice label. And there you see I've cut one label out. And then these are just peel and stick. Center them on the can in this case, but I use these labels for lots of things, and then we're ready to go. So I'm looking forward to getting these off to my buddies, and in the box, along with this can of screw lubricant, which hopefully they'll find useful in their shops, I'm going to enclose a Ziploc bag of photographs from the New England Home Show, just as a little thank you for meeting up with those guys and for the friendship that they've shared with me, both online. Okay, again, so this screw lube is basically either white or yellow beeswax. I pretty much wiped out the entire supply in our local Woodcraft. I'm waiting for them to get more in so I can make some more. And mineral oil, and then I always throw in a little vial of Bayberry candle scent, and I think it just adds a nice little smell. A lot of woodworking is the feel, the smell, and just enjoying the materials. So here's the screw lube, and the reason you add the mineral oil is to give the wax a bit of a paste-like consistency, and basically you just drive your screws in. And if I'm doing a project, I just basically stack all my screws up in the can, put the can on the workbench. When I pull them out, they have just enough wax on them. When you drive this in with your screwdriver, this just zips right in without any problem. When you get too many holes in there and it's not working anymore, you just turn your oven on 400, get it up to heat, turn the oven off, put this can in the oven. It'll melt down, take it out, let it cool down, and you're good to go. And this will last you a long time. I've had this one for a little while, but I do have to give a shout out to a great guy that I met at the New England Home Show. He's a member of Tommy McDonald's 207 Woodworking Forum. If you're a woodworker, I highly recommend that you check out Tommy's website and also join the forum. The wealth of information there is astounding, and the level of expertise is very deep and broad. And there are some professional woodworkers there that will help you and talk with you on a peer level and help you with all sorts of things. So definitely something worth checking out. I'll put the link to that in the show notes as well. Tommy McDonald's 207 Woodworking Forum. But anyway, I want to give a shout out to, well, I won't mention his real name, but his online name on the forum is FloridaWoodRat, and of course he lives in Florida. He knows from watching my blog that I do sand shading, and if you don't know what sand shading is, it's used in marquetry, and this is a panel that I made. And I'll give a close-up view of this, but this is a panel of ribbon mahogany, plum pudding mahogany, and then cherry blossom flowers. And to get the detail in these flowers, you use a technique called sand shading. To do that technique, you need some very, very fine sand. And I looked around, it was kind of hard to find, and I found in the pet store sand that's used for reptile cages, and that was the finest sand that I could find, and it worked pretty good. But I'm going to tell you, the sand that FloridaWoodRat sent me from his home in Florida, and he calls it Florida sugar sand, that stuff is absolutely awesome. I've been using it in my sand shader here for a couple of experiments, and it's so fine. The detail that you get when you're doing your sand shading is much better than the sand that I had from the pet store. And any of you guys that follow my YouTube channel will know that I'm very big into vacuum bagging. This guy is right up my alley. So I got, let me see, I opened up one, and I've got 1, 2, 3. So 3 bags of Florida sugar sand, which is I'm going to be able to hand this down to my grandchildren, I'm sure, but it arrives in a vacuum bag. So thumbs up to you, FloridaWoodRat. This is right up my alley, and I want to thank you for your friendship and sharing that sand with me. It's been a great addition to my shop. Well, here's the marquetry that I was showing you earlier, and you can see this is a very nice pattern of ribbon mahogany that's mitered on the corners. It has a nice edge banding of green dyed poplar, and then the background is plum pudding mahogany, and then the cherry blossoms are various woods that I have sand shaded to get this kind of detail, and then a little butterfly here. This is my 3rd marquetry project. I'll show you my first one just so you can see, and trust me, if I can do this, anybody can. So there's the first one. Kind of coarse, not a great outcome, and one of my flower petals actually fell out. And then here's my second one, and there's where I'm at right now. This is a very enjoyable process, and basically you're just using sand, and I just use a iron skillet that I got from a Goodwill store, and an electric, or you can use gas, but it's just an electric heating element. You get your sand up to up to temperature, and then you use that hot sand to shade all these details. When you put these pieces together, you get a nice three-dimensional look. So pretty simple thing to do, and if you're a woodworker, well worth trying.